Hey everyone, the Wagon Wheel of Wisdom here. Please like, share, and subscribe, and hit the bell notifications down below if you haven't already. Good morning everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Wagon Wheel of Wisdom. I am Kevin, your host. Behind me as usual, the beautiful wagon wheel, and hopefully still a little wisdom up here. In this video, I'm going to direct this more to the men that are on this journey that are divine feminines. We are the chasers. I am identifying as such, but I don't really want to sit there and pass off labels on this. We, at the end of the day, if we were in this journey and we're learning about twin flames, many synchronicities are showing up, indicating that this is indeed a twin flame journey. And probably the biggest indication, I would say, at least for me, from my perspective, is the feelings that have come inside of me ever since the breakup. I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. Nothing in this world, in any relationship, any event, any traumatic event for that matter, has ever compared in any way, shape, or form to what I'm dealing with and going through. And judging by the comments that I read from so many other people who are matching these emotions, they are experiencing the exact same thing. For all of us, it's a little more than just your conventional breakup. This hits you in every way, shape, or form, from every single emotional level. And from a personal perspective, it just shows you, I guess in this instance, how unprepared for this event you truly were. But I'm going to put your mind at ease a little bit with this. If you're new to this, that's the design of it. The design is to break you down and to build you back up. But the thing is, the requirement is the work has to come from us to do so. So with that in mind, I just want to talk a little bit about, I suppose, what it's like to be a man on this journey. First and foremost, I don't really feel that men have many outlets or avenues to go and speak on something like this, especially given the current environment, societal environments that we're in. I mean, number one, I am a very masculine male. Deep voice, I'm 6'3", 200 pounds, I work out constantly. I have the body type and I give off the energy of somebody who is strong, firm. I come correct. I'm going to give you the truth. I don't sugarcoat things. I don't lie to people. I don't, all of these things encompass what I feel is sort of quote unquote manly. But we live in a society now where people are identifying as different genders. They're changing their genders. So I think the idea, or even the name divine feminine, and you being a male or me being a male, I met it with great resistance out of the gate. It's kind of like, I'm not feminine. Once you understand the twin flame journey, and I'm just going to break this down again for new people, the quick snapshot of this is you and another person are one soul that were split into two before you were born or incarnated here on earth. The beautiful romantic story is that your souls, even though you're divided, magnetize each other, and at some point you meet in what is called the union again, or basically you start dating one another like I did with mine. And during this phase, there's the bubble love phase where, oh my God, the energy between the two of us, just by comments alone from other people talking about, the energy is truly magnetic. Nothing matches, or at least in my experience, the feeling towards another person like I had with my ex. And to be fully transparent here, when we embraced each other, it felt like we were one. It just did. Again, this entire process has been unexplainable from day one. The day that I met her, it has been unexplainable. The day that I made eye contact with her when we were on our first date, I said, holy shit, I am in trouble, in the best of ways. Verbatim what I said. Sitting there in the booth, and I can remember her walking up to the coffee shop, and that's actually bringing a little tear to my eye. But I'll never forget it. Never forget it. She was everything. She was everything. Again, people on this journey, I'm certain that other people would share in that, but that's the reality. So kind of back to what it is. we are now in the separation phase. So we went from the bubble love phase. We had 9 good months together, 9 great months together. One small disagreement ended it all. And I did not say some very kind things to her afterwards. And I have since got the block, no contact. And that's been about 4.5 months ago now. So I'm relatively new to this journey. Now, well, how do you know it's your twin flame? So, tell you the truth, I didn't know what I was feeling until the day after the breakup. And I mean, like on the floor, crying, sobbing, hurting in a way that I just, like, it honestly, like somebody took me and just ripped me in half. No shit. There's no joke. I've never felt a pain like that. And again, every single emotion that I've been through with this, from the time that I met her even till present day, are things I have never felt in my lifetime. I'm 46 years old. I've been divorced. I've been through breakups. I was in a relationship with a woman who was insanely narcissistic. So, you know, I've been through my father's suicide. I've lost my brother. He passed away when I was young. I was 10 years old. He was 13. So there's been events in my life that have been trying. This is in a whole new spectrum. It just does not compare. So how do I know she's my twin? Well, almost instantly after our separation, twin flame things started to fall into my lap. Now, I've always been a very spiritually guided person. Not always, I take that back. I grew up Catholic and never connected to it at all. By the time I hit age 18, I just kind of told my mom, you know what, F you, I didn't say that to her, but like I'm done with this whole church thing. I just don't get it. In fact, the Catholic Church kind of creeped me out at that time. Since coming forward or moving forward in time, the religion itself doesn't creep me out at all now that I understand that the Bible is a kind of a life guide in a way. A lot of good messages out there. But so I get all of this information that is just falling into my lap, whether it be on computers, just the synchronicities. And I talk about in other videos, angel numbers showing up, 1111, 222, and so on and so forth. All of these things started happening. The other thing that started happening that was very interesting is two people just bounced into my life, 2 guys, that one is a life coach, one is a psychotherapist, just happened to bounce into my life, and I took advantage of that. And so all of these things started to snowball. And when I began reading about twin flames, and more importantly, listening to people's stories and reading about their stories via comments, I'm just like, this has got to be what it is. So I began heeding the advice of people that have been through this before, you know, other wisdom, and reading the Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, a book called Twin Souls. I went outside to the little free library, which is just down the street here from my place, and there was a book of a dude literally staring me in the face, talking about these similar things, masculine, feminine, but how to get to a place of Zen. It's like, well, here's another synchronicity. So now I'm diving into that book. But the other aspects that have really changed with this is the scary part of the dark night of the soul, which they talk about. And that's a tough name. It does seemingly feel dark. It seemingly feels like you're walking around in darkness and you have no idea where you're turning to. And again, and I say this hesitantly because I know people don't really like to hear it, but I gotta give you the truth on this. It's the whole point. The whole point is for you to be in the darkness for a while, to begin to see yourself, not the other person, yourself in a much different light. Because when you begin to go on that trajectory of seeing yourself and learning about yourself and living present, you begin to knock down the old things that I'm going to guess were probably the repellent to the other person. Now, two divided souls are mirroring each other's insecurities, problems back to one another. And it took me a while to really wrap my head around that. Where she was strong, I was weak, and vice versa. And once I was able to get past being angry with her, and that's not to say that thoughts of her and old conversations still don't pop up. They do. But instead of them being a constant all day long, there's gaps now, wider gaps. And the gaps are getting wider and wider as I become more present and learn about me. Again, I'm going to be brutally honest with you. We all have a vision of being back together with them, but I'm going to assume that that vision is about the old them, and you thinking that you need this person to complete you. You don't. You complete you. They are with you all of the time. They're part of you. They're the other half of you. They are always with you. It's just not something physical right now. And again, that's the whole point. In order for us to have the perfect union, if this is what you desire, because during this process, you could get to a point, and that actually is the point where we should get to, is you are good either way, with or without them. You hear the success stories, you see people that are together in union. Now, granted, they're on camera saying how everything is going and getting along, but two dueling personalities, and I'll just say with my ex, for example, we push each other because we push ourselves in a major way. And I don't mean like physically, but we will frame things in context, or at least we did, and I'm assuming if we were to ever reunite that would be the case. We would word it in a challenging way, so the other person would have to, number one, own it, and number two, kind of move forward with it. And that's kind of the beauty of this. You get to do this with yourself now. And this is, again, somebody that's been in it 4.5 months. Other people have stressed how they've been in this for years. So I hope that all of us get to that point where, number one, we're okay with who we are, and number two, we're okay without them. It's a process. It is a long, grueling process, but what I'm discovering is it's also freaking beautiful. It's opening doors to a brand new life, a life that I had dreamed of before, that I didn't even really know existed, or even worse, didn't know what direction to take. But much like all of the twin flame information falling into my lap, there is this internal GPS guidance system inside of me now that is directing this, that is creating videos, that is conveying this journey to people, that is connecting with the people that I'm conveying this journey to, with, especially in men. And as I said in the beginning, there aren't many outlets for us guys. There isn't. My life coach and I talk about this openly, like we should create a guys type of getaway where we can openly sit out there and talk about this stuff, because this journey is lonely, number one, but I don't think it's the same for females that are divine feminines that it is for males. I really don't. Just in the aspect of support networks and support groups, and females more often than not are more open to talking about the emotional sides of things than guys are. I'm kind of the exception to the rule, because I did a guys group just to enhance me as a person like 2 years ago it was. I'm sorry, ever since COVID hit, my sense of time is completely screwed up. But it was the first time where it forced me to open up in front of men and just talk about things that I would never have opened up. They were complete strangers, which helped, and maybe this is where it helps with the connection with you guys. But at the same time, the idea that we as guys can do that was such a breath of fresh air for me. It really opened up a new confidence that it is okay to, number one, have problems, and number two, to not bury them, to not pretend that they're not there like guys do, to never talk about it. To tell you, like, on a sad note, how devastating that can be to a man. My dad was a Vietnam vet and didn't ever talk about it. Bottled that stuff up. September 11th hit, and he was already very depressed as it was, but he hated war after seeing what he saw. And 4 days later, he killed himself after September 11th, 2001. So that's a real life scenario of what men do. And if another thing is, if you need to look at data, the number of men committing suicide now is astounding and scary. We have no outlet. We feel so alone. We do. And for the women that are following along with this, I absolutely love it, because you guys can help us feel comfortable talking about this too. We are all going through the same thing. And just from the comment section alone, it's been really beautiful to see people connecting and commenting. And just sharing in this experience. And again, we guys, we don't have it in the capacity that it seems like women do. So I digress with that. And last night, so this is my my journaling book. As you can see, I'm kind of completely nerding out a little bit on it, but I'm truly enjoying it. And what I've been doing and discovering is harnessing kind of my inner guru, I call it. So normally I used to be, and prior to meeting my ex, an ego-based thinker, where I would just operate up here. Now, with meditations, with the act of surrendering that I've been talking about in other videos, just kind of bending down and sitting with an emotion. You know, if I'm feeling spun up and angry towards my ex about something, I will sit and surrender and just sort of watch the emotion kind of dissipate and move its way out. But last night in meditation, because something was really hitting me, again, that squeezing in my heart space, and I had to write this down. I said, why does it sting so badly to not know where you stand with someone? And I'm referencing the aspect of being completely blocked and having no contact. And just that, just not knowing where I stand. Like I could feel that being the true question on my mind. And so here was the answer I came up with, just sitting with this. And again, this is the inner voice. And I know that that might sound cray-cray to people that aren't on this journey, but you get to change you and how you operate. And the solitude and being alone is what really facilitates that, as hard as it is. And I'm not saying that it isn't. Believe me, I have my days. I had a lot of days prior to this, but the active discipline has really changed everything. So here's the answer. First, it is challenging for the divine feminine because you're the nurturing one in this relationship, and you are geared towards working things out and communication. The divine masculine has to run away because it is too painful to admit they feel love, and worse, they feel a connection that is out of their ego's control. You feel insulted by this for two reasons. The first being you would never do that to them, so there is no understanding as to why someone can do this for so long, or at all for that matter. The second is them treating you like you are a number that doesn't matter, all the while you long for them. It's a highly unfair situation, and that is the point. The point is to challenge both egos so one builds strength where the other is weak on an emotional level. And what I mean by that is they have the strength to walk away and be okay. We lack that strength. I lack that strength. So to get to that point where I was talking about earlier, where you necessarily don't need them, I believe that they are holding up a giant mirror towards us on that very aspect. That it is okay if things aren't working to take a freaking break. How many couples do you know stay in the pocket and will sit in there and fight and fight and fight about the same dumb shit over and over again? I used to be like that with my ex-wife. It's freaking exhausting. This break, while hard, has been a breath of fresh air in that regard. So I'll continue. The divine masculine knows love exists. They know love exists, but has no clue what to do with it. The divine feminine loves on conditions and will learn with time that he or she has the power to walk away now if something feels off. And what I mean by conditions, thinking that if I do X, I'm going to get love from them. I know growing up in the household that I did, I was very confused about love was, because I had two parents that fought all the time, and if I was a good boy, they loved me. If I was a bad boy, they didn't love me. So I assumed blindly that love was conditional, and of course took that mindset into every single relationship thus far. I'm reaching for my coffee here. So that's kind of been the trying part. But at the same time, you know, being 46, I kind of think, God, I wish I knew this stuff earlier. It's like, you know what? Enough with the I wish, I should, I might, I'm going to. Enough with that shit. The time is right now to really strap in and ask yourself some tough questions. Sit with those questions, even write them down on paper. I've found that releasing, the act of releasing, that writing it out and getting it on paper, that's why I do it before I go to bed, the next morning feeling rejuvenated about those things that I wrote down. And even sometimes not even remembering what I wrote the night before and going back and rereading it. It's like, oh wow, okay. So in another video, I'm going to talk again just for people, all of the disciplines that I'm doing, as this one's running a little bit long as it is, but just to kind of give you my 4.5 month routine of what's going on. Also wanted to comment too about my dreams. In previous videos, and I guess I don't know how long ago, but all of my dreams that I had about her were consisting of her running. There was no conversation. I would try to catch up, and in the dreams you feel like you're dragging bowling balls. So there was no way I could catch up, and she just did not want to talk to me. I've had recent dreams lately where we're actually communicating but still sensing a divide. I believe our souls speak to one another in our dreams. I really do. And I think that is where our energy is right now. And it's mirroring back and forth. And the old Kevin would have sat there and been, oh, well, that's where she's at. It's like, no, that's actually where I'm at too with it. I'm in this zone of indifference. Would I love to feel her embrace? Absolutely, but I'd probably love to give her the Heisman Trophy pose and say you got to go too at the same time. Again, this journey is just weird. The emotions and how you navigate through this and move through this from where to think where I was to where I am now is an absolute welcome change and a beautiful change. I can tell just by the way I'm responding to comments, by the way I'm interacting with people. And something funny has been happening. So many people, like if I'm walking on the bike path, are just smiling and saying hi. So I must be giving off a little bit different vibe, a little bit better energy, and people see it. So that's been cool. I'm probably not walking around like a negative Nancy all day long, or I don't know what the male negative Neil. But yeah, so I hope this reaches out to a lot of, again, every woman that is on this board. I love you guys. You guys are great. You give a different perspective on things. But I'm really trying to reach out to the guys that have felt isolated throughout this entire time and let you know that you're not alone on this. I might be behind a camera in 2D right now, but I'm a 3D human being going through this 5D experience. And it's been hell on wheels. But at the same time, it's been freaking great. Oh, it's been great. These emotions and feelings that I currently am harnessing and starting more to believe in. That's been the biggest thing about this journey is the doubt that it's real. Part of me really wants to be like, dude, I mean, seriously, like this is fantasy thinking. Maybe she just broke up with you and hates your guts. But every synchronicity, every little interaction, every little coincidence, all of these things bring me right back to this. And at the end of the day, as mad as I was at her, I just have to give her the biggest amount of gratitude because of who I'm becoming. And my other half of my soul would want exactly that, because I want that exact same thing for her. I really do. I want that for all of you. I want that for every single one of you, to find that place of peace and stop beating the hell out of yourself for elements that are out of your control, and learn to control the things that you can. And that's you. You have the power. Just sometimes you've got to believe that you've got the power, just like I have to believe in this journey and in this mission and whatever this mission is. And if this is part of it, which it has to be, to talk to all of you, to talk to my guys out there and my girls, here we are. So this is Kevin, Wagon Wheel of Wisdom. Gonna suck down some coffee. Love you guys.